In the year 1978, there was no more room in hell.
That's when you go to the Holiday Inn.
Is that one of their slogans? When there's no more room in hell, you go to the Holiday Inn.
Or no, the Motel 6. You go to the Motel 6 if there's no more room in hell, I think.
That's why the baby Jesus
There's no
came
more
back
room
from
in hell.
bed, right? There was no more room in hell, so we went to the manger.
That's,
have I got that right?
I think that's what it says in the book of Luke, actually. Yeah. But yes, this is from the book of Matthew here.
Is that where the...
That was my introduction to myself.
Oh, right. You already introduced me, so it wouldn't make sense for me to pile on that.
Andrew didn't get a book, sorry.
I didn't know if that awkward moment was for me to jump in and say, hi, I'm Andrew, but I'll take it.
I think there might be a Gnostic book of Andrew, if that makes you happier.
I don't know what that means, so thanks.
Those are the books of the Bible I just threw out because I didn't like them.
How many? Okay.
Like shitload. There's a shitload of them. Because there was no more room in hell for the Bible, I guess.
It's like
it filled up the hell with shit.
It's like the Star Wars stuff that they now call legends because it's not canon anymore. The Bible has loads of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like in the book of Andrew, Chewbacca dies and stuff.
So you explain in Star Wars terms, then it makes sense to me.
Well, today's movie, Dawn of the Dead, kind of has that too, because there's like 8,000 different cuts of it.
Yeah, I have 5 of them out of the however many there are.
We watched the one that someone was nice enough to put on YouTube in very nice quality, which runs 2 hours, 19 minutes, and definitely has Goblin on the soundtrack.
Okay. Yeah, because the Argento cut's called Zombie.
Oh, it definitely was not. That one runs like 90 minutes, I think. It's like real short, right?
Yeah. So the 2 hour, yeah, I think that's the one I typically watch.
Yeah, I definitely remember seeing that, though I do remember seeing it a few times not having Goblin. So
man, 2 hours, that's long as hell, man.
Luke, did you rock out the Goblin?
I couldn't even tell you which bits of the movie.
All the stuff from
it
there.
Just sounded like 70s movie music to me.
Okay, well, that was Goblin making 70s music, movie music. Yeah. Actually, Luke, we should start with you. Was this your first time on this one?
I don't think it was quite my first time because as I was watching it, I was like, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember that line. So I must have watched it at some point. But it's one of those weird films where it's like, even if I hadn't watched it, it created a whole genre and all the other films are basically this. So.
Right. Maybe you saw the Schneider cut.
No, I haven't. I definitely haven't seen the Snyder one. I definitely was this one. Yeah, it's like, you know how in the 90s, they didn't call them first-person shooters. They called them Doom clones.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could call like zombie movies just Dawn of the Dead clones.
Yeah, because Night of the Living Dead's a little too insular. Like people don't copy that one quite so much. It was like this movie almost like copies in like 2 minutes just by showing all the rednecks at the farmhouse. But like, hey, there's Night of the Living Dead. Let's move on.
But yeah, Night of the Living Dead just felt like it felt like a contained incident when I watched. I have seen that as well.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels like the end.
Yeah, this one's much more expansive, much bigger budget. My first getting into this movie was going to Andrew's house and it was on the TV. So I'm just going to punt the ball straight to you, I think.
Oh gosh. Well, Dawn of the Dead was my dad's favorite movie. And so we saw it quite a lot. And he was a biker. So he and his buddies absolutely love zombies and being bikers. So if you have a movie that combines them, that's a magic formula. So yeah, I've seen it quite a number of times.
But I know you don't have an aversion to this movie, but you do have an aversion to zombie movies.
I just don't tend to like them. Like they really have to work hard for me to like them because I think because my introduction to them was Night of the Living Dead and this, like you were saying, Doom clones. Just a formula they don't seem to be able to escape.
And maybe we should just lay it on the table with the sort of sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Fast moving versus slow moving. I'm pretty much on the slow moving side, with this movie making very great examples of the slow moving zombie.
Oh, are we going for this? Are we talking about this, Luke? Where does it lie for you for slow or fast zombie?
My feeling, if you've got a fast zombie, why even bother making it zombies? Just give me raptors or something more interesting. Like the point
Yeah.
of the zombie is it's a shuffling corpse, right? But if it's just
Yeah.
running around screaming and chasing you, then just give me a more interesting monster.
Yeah. Well, this is why Danny Boyle comes up with the infected for the 28 days later,
Right.
you know, so that it can be, you know, more like the Crazies, I guess, which
Well,
was,
yeah, when Resident Evil went from slow zombies to fast zombies, the fast ones are not zombies. They do way more wacky shit. They got all tentacles coming out of them, and it's like,
yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Like, just make it something different and interesting if you're just not gonna do zombies properly.
Yeah. I have no emotional stake in it whatsoever. I just don't really dig zombies for the most part. I mean, part of the reason why I saw this so much as a kid is because I did not find them frightening whatsoever. My only squick with zombie movies, in particular the Romero ones, was the way they will then engulf someone, and the gory Tom Savini effects that I'm sure we'll mention when one is taken apart in various ways by the inhumanly strong dead people.
Yeah, and that's I guess that one scene is sort of our precursor of Day of the Dead, which pretty much fills most of the movie with that stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
I do remember as kids that's actually maybe veering a touch away from Day of the Dead, like looking at the Fangorias and like how they did it, and then watching Dawn of the Dead instead.
It's true. To kind of like put it in perspective for people that maybe don't know, the 80s were the boom of practical effects, and Savini was one of the big names. Dawn of the Dead is very much a 70s movie. So it was pre all of that.
They're blue here. I mean, it was Christmas time, was it?
In the film?
Yeah.
I can't remember if they established that.
No, it's probably because I just watched 12 Monkeys too.
Right.
Anyway, I was thinking maybe it's cold, so all the zombies are blue.
Could be, yeah.
I feel like a lot of the aesthetic has changed since this film, but the beats of the film really haven't. Like other zombie films look different, but what happens is they pretty much nailed all of it here in this first one. And I think I'm the same as you. I don't find the zombies themselves at all scary. Maybe occasionally they can get me with a jump scare, but I really like just like slow post-apocalypse stuff. So really, if I'm going to watch this kind of thing, I would lean, even though it's not a great film, the sort of the I Am Legend version, where it just leans into the alone in the city part of it, and the zombies are just an excuse.
Yeah, well, that's where it all came from anyways, even Night of the Living Dead, you know.
Yeah.
And the claustrophobic strategizing, I guess, is kind of interesting in a movie like this.
Right.
Like, you know, putting yourself in a situation like, oh, I'm stuck in this room and I have to figure out how to get anywhere else. You know, I'll be able to do it, but I gotta put some strategy into it, or I'm going to get my arm eaten off. You know?
But if I was going to make that film, I'd use, you know, Triffids or just something more interesting than a bunch of shuffling dead dudes.
Dawn of the Triffids would have been wonderful, I have to say.
As for the plot here, I think none of us are committed to the plot. Are any of us committed to the plot?
I assumed it was mine because I assume you're doing monkeys and
okay
evil.
So you got one.
I got one in my head, kinda.
Okay, let's do it.
The dead have risen, and it's a spreading plague. The police are sent in to clear out an apartment block, but somehow this heightened pandemic really highlights the inherent injustice and racism of the police force. So two police officers walk away, Peter and Roger from the SWAT team. They meet up with Stephen and Francine from the news service, who have a helicopter and are tired of giving out important health information that's being scuppered by corporate interests. When was this film made? Anyway, they fly away, encounter a few zombies, and then find a mall, thinking this would be the perfect place to hole up. At the cost of Roger's life, they do manage to remove all the zombies and lock themselves down. But then some bikers show up and they decide they want the mall. After a brief conflict, Stephen bites it, or rather it bites him, and Peter tells Francine to leave, deciding to die a hero's death instead. But at the last minute, he decides to live, and in a surprisingly out of context heroic scene, fights his way to the helicopter, at least in the version I watched.
Yeah, I guess there are multiple cuts to this one.
Yeah,
So,
but black man lives, right? You know.
Yeah, I like that.
yeah. That I think that was a Ramiro thing because it didn't really happen beforehand.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No, it's LL Cool J likes to say he's the first black guy to survive a horror movie, talking about Deep Blue Sea. But there's at least two before him, if not more.
Also, throughout this film, Peter is by far the most sensible one.
Oh yeah, well, Roger's got some PTSD, which after the apartment block thing makes some sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give him that.
Well, like right
Francine's
at the
got other
start
things
of
on
the
her
film,
mind.
like right at the start, I mean, first I think we have the bit in the newsroom, but then it's the SWAT team just clearing out these people because they don't want to leave their homes because they've been told to by the government. And it's straight in there with just like, here's a racist cop who's enjoying shooting all of these minorities. And I was like, oh, this film's just going straight there, is it?
It went straight there. I think some of the other cuts go a lot longer in the newsroom, if I remember.
I don't know, but if I happen to grab the wrong disc, because I watched this movie a couple of times a year, and so I'll just throw one on, and as a result, they blur together for me.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I've got that with Blade Runner, so I don't know which cut
Oh,
Blade Runner is
gosh.
which.
Yeah.
This isn't the podcast for going in depth of like, well, at 2 minutes 23 in this cut, you can see the
Somebody has, so we don't need to.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking someone had a lot more in the newsroom in one of the cuts, but yeah, the one I watched is definitely the standard. This is good acting for a '70s horror movie by and large. I mean, understated for the most part, but
there's a few extras who like they do a line read and it's like, oh wow, you've memorized the line and repeating it. But the main cast, it's understated in a very good and believable way. I liked it.
And some of the zombie extras are hamming the shit out of it because of course you would.
Well, I mean, they were inventing playing these zombies as he went along, right? So tell you what, spoilers, at the end when Steven's a zombie, he was really good at it.
Yeah, he's one of the main actors.
Yeah. But being good at playing a human doesn't mean you're good at playing a zombie. So
Yeah, no, those are very, very iconic. Not only the makeups but the performances. Like on most of the like tote bags and socks for Dawn of the Dead, you'll see the images of one of them.
Because they were the ones that could act. I do like the fact that the extras. See, we're going to talk more about the extras as actors. I almost feel like just like they're doing insane things that would not be in. I don't feel like show up in later zombie movies so much. Like people generally aren't willing to go for that weird humor aspect so much.
I mean, until you get to like the 2000s and there's the big wave of zombie comedies, right?
Oh, I'm not counting the
I'm
counting the actual zombie movies.
Right.
I mean, I guess a zombie comedy can be an actual.
I mean, this one had like a big element of like satire to it.
Oh yeah,
so it makes sense. There were some jokier parts to the zombies.
I mean, serious socio-economical statements here. I think this is still sort of the gold standard, the socio-economic sort of horror film.
Yeah, everyone kind of. I mean, you'd have to be really daft not to pick up on that.
And he was still at it. What, like 30 years later with Land of the Dead? Because City of the Dead's even newer, right? Because Land of the Dead.
Yeah,
City. That was City
Land
of Living, I guess.
Yeah, no, Land of the Dead really kind of picks up this, like finishes the movies in a way, and had that giant like city where all the rich people lived there and everybody else could just go die and get eaten.
It's a more hardcore version of the Hunger Games, I guess.
Yeah.
What I liked, you had the guy Roger, the one who gets bitten first. He was such like clear 70s leading man material, and the film sets him up as, here is your 70s leading man. So I feel like it was kind of subversive that he was the first to go, and he couldn't handle it and didn't act like a 70s leading man. He got emotional and got panicky and got himself killed.
No, he's already getting like a little bit wonky. I mean, even in the projects or whatever, right?
Well, in the projects, he makes the sensible decision of like, oh fuck, I'm not the good guy.
Yeah, he makes that sensible decision, but he can't live with that decision afterwards, more or less. So especially now, we're gonna go pillage them all, and I mean, if instinctually or intellectually, not instinctually, but intellectually know that you need to shoot the zombie in the head, but you still kind of feel like you're shooting a person, especially if you know them. So
that was something I really felt was this. Obviously, when this came out, this wasn't just a standard genre that everyone knows, right? So there's like the first scene where Peter has to shoot the two kids. And I was like, oh, I bet in 1978, this was shocking as fuck. Whereas I'm just like, yeah, the zombie shoot him. Like,
yeah, it
become such a
was
standard
also
trope.
the era of the violent anti-hero when Death Wish and all this other sort of started to come about. And so to have a self-aware guy who normally would be the tough guy that's destroying the monsters have that sort of breakdown and reckoning, I think was really revolutionary as well. I think it part of why it holds up so well.
I was reading a novel a few years back. It's called This Book is Full of Spiders. It's the sequel to the book John Dies at the End. I'd recommend both. They're quite funny. But it's got like this group of like zombie apocalypse, like prepper survivalist guys. And but briefly you follow their point of view. And then like the zombies start coming out of the walls, so they shoot them all and get like go crazy. Later you follow a different group of characters and they have to escape through a sewer. And it turns out there were no zombies at all. It was just these people. And they got shot because we have just accepted this idea of a zombie apocalypse now, that if something close to it happened, I think a lot of people would be pretty quick to just pop them in the head. And then when a week later, it turns out we could just cure them and they're all like human beings.
Yeah, that's my least favorite. When I say I dislike zombie movies, I think it's the armed to the teeth, the zombie killers people that I can't stand. Like I don't like the band of people that are the survivalists. Those people just they can't wipe them out fast enough. I'm always rooting for the zombies, always.
So that's why Shaun of the Dead is so good, right? Because you set a zombie film in the UK, we don't have much space to hide and we don't have guns everywhere. So you got to bash them in the head with a cricket bat and hold up in a pub.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I still enjoy Shaun of the Dead because of that.
But yeah, I was and that's going on our supercut where I lost my thought again because it happened again. To be fair, I'm on lots of drugs at the moment.
Like from the very opening of this podcast, Matt's brain is just not functioning today. So
yeah,
we've got a zombie in the room with us as a special for this episode.
Yeah, Luke already called me a boomer. Just for anyone that does do us on YouTube, this is my lunch today, man.
Jeez, dude.
Matt got his jab yesterday and he's reacted. So
I got last week.
Oh, well, I thought it was yesterday.
No, I got last week. And then a week later, I get the two crazy viral things show up in the same day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the second one's been postponed now by the doctor. So, okay, one guy that didn't have a great reaction. Hello.
Dude, this is a good one. This is a good one to be talking about then, because, you know, the walking zombie.
Yeah, I got some zombie flesh on me now. But anyway, yeah, and one of them, it's fine because they're like, oh, it's gonna taste horrible. It's like this liquid thing, and at first I'm like, well, just like cough syrup. It's like, oh, it's the aftertaste they're talking about. The aftertaste was pretty rank, but I'm sure zombies taste rank too. Blue flesh tastes rank. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You know, I mean, that's how we know if you shoot the thing if it's blue, right? That's what George Romero taught us.
Yeah,
so listeners,
it's almost as if
bluewaffle.com.
Why?
Don't. Just take his word for it, please.
I'm glad that one of you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Just whatever desire you have to know, just get rid of that.
I'm not going to tell you what it is because I'm just going to wait until you break and have to look it up.
My other idea was the survivalist. At first, we get the hardcore redneck survivalist, of course. You know, yeehaw, all that sort of stuff. I mean, they're in Pennsylvania, but you can be plenty redneck in Pennsylvania or New York or whatever, right?
Oh no, they're there all right. Because the time I went to Monroeville Mall to see like how it had changed or whatever, it was the same day that I encountered rednecks in the north for the first time.
So, is Monroeville Mall still open for business?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've been there a couple times.
I guess I was conflating it with the one they did the Blues Brothers in, which is definitely not open for business.
Oh yeah, no. In Roeville Mall, they've built it out a lot. There's like a whole little village of shops outside of it, kind of like the Mall of Georgia a little bit.
Yeah, they didn't car chase it as hard, so I guess you can get away with that.
Yeah.
Blues Brothers did some serious damage to that particular facility, which was already closed. But
yeah,
I don't know. Have you seen the Blues Brothers?
Yeah, once.
What's a better use of a mall? I'll throw in Mallrats for a third if you want.
I'm gonna go with this.
Okay.
My problem with Blues Brothers, I watched it after my mum had really overhyped it. And like when you're 18 and watching it for the first time in like the 2010s, it's not good. It's not the best.
Stick with the soundtrack, or better yet, listen to the recordings from the 60s.
It's like my mum told me, she's like, "Oh, it's so funny." She told me the one good joke from the film, and it turns out that is the one good joke in the film.
What's the one good joke in the film?
Oh, we play both kinds of music, country and western.
Oh, okay. But I was going to throw out the other bit of the survivalists are the bikers. So, something happened. Maybe that was his call. The video just went out. You've just become a hand. That says Gonzoriffic. He turned into a hand. Okay, well, where was I? While we're seeing what's happening, bikers. Did you realize the
biker, glove?
Did you catch
Biker
on
glove.
that the lead biker was? Well, you would have had to know. The lead biker was the makeup effects artist.
I could tell he was someone.
Okay.
Because he just had a vibe of I'm here as a cameo,
Yeah,
and I'm having the time of my life.
It's not from previous movies. He's having the time of his life making all these gore effects. That's
Right,
Tom Savini. He also, I guess you said you have not seen From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh no, yes, I still haven't.
Okay, because he shows up in there almost 20 years later as I think he's Sex Machine. Yeah.
I mean, I think I have seen it like on British TV in like the 90s or something, but I don't remember it very well.
Okay, but yeah, he did all of this stuff. So like at the end, we got the like animal entry. I mean, it's animal meat, right? Like raw chicken, which I'm sure smelled wonderful, but didn't go down so well in that case.
I was wondering like how much raw meat are they consuming? Have they like cooked it a little bit or anything? But I guess not.
What? I don't know. Can you get raw meat in your mouth and it's okay? Like chicken, because chicken's got like salmonella.
You can here, you can't in the States.
No, I just mean like if you're not actually ingesting it, can it screw you up?
I'm sure there's a chance. It might not be the biggest chance. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, okay.
The
zombie apocalypse probably just started happening in Athens, Georgia, Commerce, Georgia, whatever it is.
I know when she had to eat a raw horse's heart in Game of Thrones, it was just made of like gummy bears. But I'm assuming they didn't give those extras that courtesy in 1978.
When I started teaching in Japan, I taught like adults, right?
Mm.
And I do remember the warm-up question was like, what's the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten? And one guy's like, I ate raw chicken. I was really drunk. And then I guess he hurled it or whatever. So
I think it is just those bugs that I've talked about a few times.
Where did the bug eating just came up recently? Where was that?
I think we talked about it a bit in Soylent Green.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we talked about it with a guest recently as well.
Yeah. So bug eating's a wave of the future, right? So
yeah, but presumably prepared deliberately not to just be a handful of bugs. For a long time, the worst thing I'd ever eaten was just a cheese and coleslaw sandwich. As a kid, I really didn't like onions. And I bought one not knowing what it was and took a big bite out of it. And it's like, this is the worst thing I've ever done.
Okay. One of the worst ones I did was it was like a 15-day camping trip when I was like 13 or 14. And it was one guy's turn to cook and he made spaghetti and he just like fucked it up so gloriously. He like found new ways to make spaghetti terrible. But we're out like way deep in the countryside or whatever, the mountainside, the frontier, I guess it was the West. So yeah, there was no other choice. We had to eat the shit spaghetti.
See, when as an American you say spaghetti, that includes like the sauce and everything, right?
I don't remember. He made this weird mass of
there's only so much you can mess up the noodles themselves, right?
Yeah, and he did everything he could to mess up the noodles themselves. They were like a globulous mass of noodle. This is spaghetti. What's the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, that's a story.
Okay, tell it.
How did we get here, by the way? I've leave the room for 2 minutes and we're on this disgusting thing. Okay, so
We were thinking
I
about
was
what the
dating
zombies eat, by the way.
I was
yeah.
just going to not tell it.
Oh, okay.
No, I was dating a rich girl who we were at a restaurant and she just ordered a strawberry milkshake even though it wasn't on the menu because rich assholes can do that. And so they're like, yeah, we don't make milkshakes. And, and she was like, well, I want one and I'll pay whatever for it. And they're like, okay, we'll go back there and see what we got. And I'm sitting there thinking, they are really definitely going to spit a few clams in this sucker. And they bring it out. She takes one sip of it and she's like, oh, this is terrible. And I was just like, oh my God, well, I'm going to try to save them from also spitting in both of our entrees. So I'm just going to go ahead and drink this whole thing. And it was the absolute worst. I mean, Pepto-Bismol, except for somebody pissed in it.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, Pepto pissed on it all. So there you are.
Why you're off the line? Tom Savini's Dusk Till Dawn character is Sex Machine, right?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure because it's been a little while since I watched that one. So
me too, but we watched the hell out of that movie.
Right. I was just making sure I was getting the facts right. So yeah.
Yes.
Luke was pointing out you could at least tell that guy was somebody in Dawn of the Dead. So anyway, what I was trying to do is throw out you the idea our second group of survivalists like actually are the bikers.
Yes, that's true. And this is the reason for the season.
You call them survivalists, and like when they first see them, he's like, oh yeah, these guys are professional army, they've been surviving on the road. They turn up and just do a bunch of dumb shit and get themselves killed.
Yes.
Well, up to that point, they've been surviving, man.
No, they were
only
3
been surviving
sheets to the
they
wind.
Started out with 100 of them and just whittled down to 15, I think. One of them,
they had...
while the zombies are chasing him, goes to get his blood pressure checked.
Yeah. But that was a great gag, you got to admit. I mean, they telegraphed it pretty well, but still, yeah. No, they they're surviving on their own like idiocy and PCP and whatever bikers are hopped up on. They got that pick up a Volkswagen strength. Like, I'll feel it tomorrow, maybe.
Now you were talking about your dad, that being part of the connection, and you having access to all of his old biker pictures, which I believe you've been done shows on.
I have. I did a whole slideshow of the, because my friends go like, "Oh, your parents were bikers. Well, what does that mean?" And I go, "Well, why don't I just show you?" So, yeah, those guys. I knew most of those guys that are in the Dawn of the Dead. they were my uncles and stuff.
No, I know, just like
even the ones with the special, even the one with the automatic weapon.
I mean, I guess being the kid growing up across the street, I just remember a few errant fireworks or something for the most part. But
yeah, that keep telling yourself that was a firework. It's actually a double barrel in the backyard.
The most ridiculous I've seen with fireworks, at least, is this is in Alabama, so it makes sense. It was at a lake in Alabama. It's 4th of July, and there's people on like one wooden dock, right? Like a double deck one. You could like go on up one level. It was either rich houses in Alabama, but that doesn't make them not rednecks, right? And then another one like maybe 100 yards down with another similar dock. And then everyone taking PVC pipes and putting bottle rockets in and shooting them at each other.
Yeah, they did theirs with handlebars, like an extra set of handlebars, so they could do 2 at once.
Oh, okay. double duty. Okay. How do you, because you'd light it on the outside of the PVC and okay, anyway. It's been a while.
Oh, it happened.
But I was there, I'm like, why is this happening? There's nothing good.
You know what they were Roman candles is what they were.
Oh, okay. No. These were like the bottle rockets, so they had like some trajectory, because they were shooting at each other. So there has to be the possibility of horrible injury, I guess.
The closest
No, we were the we're
closest
the
I've ever
worst
done to
neighbors
that
possible.
is just set two fireworks up and stood in between them to try and get a cool shot of them crossing behind me.
How'd that go?
I got like a half decent photo. It wasn't great.
Okay.
We also put a bunch of sparklers in a beer bottle and it exploded.
Instead of the rock, it was the pebble.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. So, and you got the helicopter, right? Where are you going to go take it? These guys go to the mall.
I mean, around here, I'd go like right up in the mountains. Nice vantage spot, lots of view. There's not many people around, so the zombies aren't going to be attracted.
You know that castle in Togura?
Yeah, oh, the castle up here that's been like abandoned since the 80s.
Okay, there we go. But you wouldn't have supplies there to speak of.
I mean, yeah, you'd have to take supplies up, but also, you can forage in the mountains and shit.
Yeah, but most of us are like, how many of us could actually live without the modern supply chain for more than 3 days?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd give it a go.
yeah.
I've got a pretty hefty cupboard full of tinned foods and like shit like that from the start of the pandemic when we weren't sure what was going to happen. So I better stock up in case the supermarkets run out or something.
You probably. How long did that stuff last?
I've been keeping an eye on it. A lot of it is pretty soon.
Okay.
So I have to have some meals of awful tinned vegetables soon.
Yeah, like my wife's family has like the old school house, which might be okay, but then again, you just end up in the farmhouse situation from Night of the Living Dead, so maybe it's not so great. that was more of my society falls apart fallback. It's not really a good zombie fallback.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not that scared of the zombies thing happening, because like I feel like we would just shoot. Like at the start of this film, he's saying, "Yeah, just shoot them on sight." We just do it.
but that's
They're not too much different than normal life here in America.
But the whole point of the zombie thing is a few of them. You get hubris gets in your way, you screw up, and little by little, there's a few more zombies here and there because you couldn't quite wipe them out. Because some of these guys are like Roger, right?
But you speak to like a disease guy, like a virus that could only be transmitted by biting would not get that far. Like, that's not an efficient way to travel.
No. Yeah, but once you get a nice crowd of people, it's probably good to go. No, if you got like 5, you can nip that in the bud. But then you don't. Now you got a problem on your hands. But
what you really want is Tokyo Fish Attack, which is where it's a virus that like it reconstructs whatever living creature it's in into like a machine to travel it further. So you're like sharks with robot legs hunting people down and shit. That's the zombie story I want to check out next.
Sharks with robot legs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It's by Junji Ito, who's like the master of horror manga. So
I just think the Thanksgiving night or whatever at Walmart at 1 a.m, that's pretty much where it jumps off.
Yeah.
Everybody's waiting to get inside to get those TVs.
It's 1 a.m, because I mean it used to be slightly reasonable. It's like the next morning, right? Like 8, and they kept pushing it back, but they haven't pushed it all the way to midnight, have they?
I mean, right after people are done eating Thanksgiving dinner, they go right outside the store and wait.
Wow, because I always went to the movie theater. You probably do too.
I do stay as far away from retail outlets as humanly possible.
The only thing I've ever like queued overnight for was to audition for Star Wars Episode 7. And that wasn't supposed to leak that it was Star Wars. So there was like 2,000 of us, and they clearly were not going to hire anyone from that audition.
Did they make that announcement? We're clearly not going to hire any of you.
No, but when I came in, they're like, so like, why did you do this? That's what the woman was asking me.
I don't have anywhere else to be.
And it was just like fill in a form, hand over your headshot, and go. There wasn't even like an audition. And obviously, I'd been up since like up all night. This is when I had a mustache for whatever reason. I looked like I was 40 years old, and I was auditioning for like the young lead.
I'm here to be your young lead.
Greetings, teenagers.
So try and picture like Force Awakens, but where Finn is played by Michael Chiklis.
Is he in like Thing makeup too?
But basically,
You know, I used to live in Athens, right? I mean, you're not quite in Athens, but what would be your plan for the apocalypse? I mean, you know, the current one is stay home, so you stayed home. But how about the zombie one?
Get turned into a zombie ASAP.
Okay, you're just gonna go straight with that plan. Go.
Yeah, because I don't want to be one of these assholes that are in the movies I can't stand. You know.
But we decided Peter was cool.
No, because you know the guy with the guns is all in charge, and the one with the military experience, and the one who's in the most Facebook alt-right groups, you know, is in charge. I just was like, just zombie. Come on. I'll go to Popeyes. I'll just eat.
Eat the staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're
like, would you like a chicken sandwich? Yeah, no, I'd much rather be a zombie. That's always the question. People are like, okay, you can only have one weapon. What would you want? I'm like, I'm a zombie. My teeth, you know?
I'll pay you in teeth. We'll get back to that soon. Okay. No, we already got to that. That's how time works.
Matt is broken today.
It's great.
Matt.
No, because there's a tooth and 12 monkeys, but 12 monkeys are recording tomorrow, but it'll come out first.
Will it?
Because it was delayed, and I already announced it that way.
Okay. I mean, no one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit. I'm like, you know, you gotta stand by your word.
Who's editing this? Who's got to edit this episode?
Matt edits everything for this podcast.
Yeah, I'm not editing anything. I find places to stick music in, right?
Okay,
yeah,
fair.
They're gonna get the full unupdated. Matt is just tripping boomer experience.
Yes, but yeah, I'm not quite functional today, so it's fun now.
I know. I like the Italian zombie movies more. I love City of the Living Dead, for example, or Nightmare City, stuff like that. Zombie 2, Zombie 3, those are really good ones.
But Zombie 1's this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite zombie movie though is Paranorman, of all things. It's actually my favorite.
Before that was Return of the Living Dead, right?
Yeah, which I'm getting to see at the drive-in on Saturday. I loved Return of the Living Dead for most of my life. Yeah, I have a soft spot for it. This Dawn of the Dead was Dad's favorite. Return was like our mutual, like, you know, that was one we liked, both loved.
See, the feeling I'm getting is, you know, in Ratatouille, when he meets the guy, he finally meets the like food critic at the end, and he's like, "Oh, I thought a guy who likes food would be fat." And he's like, "I don't like food. I love food, so I only eat the best." I feel like that's you with zombie movies. It's not that you hate them; it's just that you only watch the good ones.
Yeah, I'm just super particular. I mean, I know people, they'll watch anything zombie, they'll like, give it to me.
Yeah, my friend Roma was like that, and it's just like she put me in front of these zombie films, and they're all the same, and they're all terrible.
Yeah, no, The Girl with All the Gifts, probably one of the best. That's I would highly recommend that if you're looking for something different. But for the most part, what's the most recent one Zack Snyder did? Army of the Dead.
Yeah. My friend Matty keeps telling me to watch it, and I know I'm gonna hate it.
He told you to watch some other shitty films.
He told me to watch a lot of shitty films.
Yeah, it's better than like Zombieland.
So again, I know loads of people who fucking love Zombieland as well.
No.
See, I like zombie movies because there's kind of a sci-fi concept, but the other thing is I barely watch them, so I've like only watched the good ones. So
yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
I've like seen.
Well, that's me with horror generally. I don't just consume loads of horror. So if something like really bubbles to the top, I try and check it out.
I consume loads of horror and tend to go for the things that bubble to the bottom.
See, that's me with sci-fi though. Like if it's got a robot or a spaceship or a dinosaur, I'm straight there. Like I don't care how bad it is. Like if you've got a guy dressed up as a lizard smashing model buildings, I'm happy. Like
right.
I'm trying to think of what is the weird subgenre that I will just dive down.
Fucking educational films, you freak.
I'm talking like feature. Yes, that's true. I'm talking like feature length stuff. You know, like not ephemeral films. So good point. As far as things that are produced to actually play in a movie theater, yeah, I guess I'm down for most space operas. Although I don't know, there's some pretty bad. There's some pretty bad ones.
Yeah, but you'll always check them out, right?
Yeah,
like if there's a space
consider
movie,
it.
you'll watch it. I think.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
Is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I always end up liking these films.
I watch Passengers.
Check them out.
So maybe that's mine. So
you talk about the sci-fi bent of zombie stuff, but prior to this, like prior to Romero, it was a voodoo thing, right?
Yeah.
And this film, they still feel the need to throw in some voodoo references. Like
They do.
Peter talks about his grandfather was like mentioned some voodoo prophecies. I think one of the TV news guys says like, oh, it's like a voodoo resurrection. So this is the point where it's shifting to nowadays it's always a virus or it's like some mushrooms or whatever. Whereas here it was, well, they don't even really tell you what it is.
I think
They say, oh, we're exploring the possibility that it's a virus.
Yeah, I feel like was it radiation?
It was radiation in Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
There's like a satellite fell out of the sky or something.
It was. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so these two films, I guess, are the point where zombie fiction shifted from a fantasy thing to sci-fi. Like prior to this, if you had zombies, it's because you're playing D&D and a necromancer resurrected them.
Yeah. 74. So this was 78. In 74, they had Sugar Hill, which is a great zombie blaxploitation movie, and they are voodoo zombies.
Okay.
It's pretty great. Absolutely no science whatsoever.
No science
It's all
involved. I mean, I guess in this one it is radiation. They're like theorizing about it being a virus, but if we consider this an actual sequel tonight, then it would be radiation. I don't remember.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, okay. I think Day makes it relatively clear it's radiation.
Okay.
Is that why they're living underground, or is it just the zombies is why they're living underground?
it's Earth. The surface is pretty much uninhabitable.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's.
Well, one of the guys in this suggests just nuking the city, so maybe that happened between dawn and day.
Yeah. Well, they left one because there's land, but it is sort of a Mad Max thing, I guess, where they're sequels, but they're not quite sequels.
Yeah, you're just sort of back in the world where the rules are the rules, and etc.
Well, and he makes them like almost 10 years apart.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, even George Miller has gone on record saying like the Mad Max movies are basically legends of the sky. That's why a lot of the little details don't fit together so well. Like what age he is at a certain point, does he have the interceptor or not?
That's how I've always preferred to think of the Legend of Zelda series. And that's why everyone who tries to do timeline shit is a tedious nerd.
Well, they did put in the title.
Yeah.
Gotta give, they put in the title. So what is the strain of horror that will make you watch anything no matter how shit? Is there, because obviously it's not zombie, but there's something.
No, what will I watch? Probably a black horror from the 70s. I'll watch absolutely any.
Oh, right. As you go, I guess
absolutely
I guess next year is October. I have to bring in for Blackula.
Blackula's top of the heap. I mean, that's one of the greatest. I mean, I'm really can't stand vampires. I would watch a zombie before I'd watch a vampire. So the fact that Blackula remains one of the greatest to me, it's a testament to what they did with that movie.
Yeah, but I'm trying to plumb down into.
I like OG Dracula, but I can't think of any vampire fiction since then I've enjoyed. So
Nicolas Cage made a good vampire.
Yeah, but I'm just watching Nicolas Cage. I don't care what the context
Okay,
is.
the movie's not that great, but Nicolas Cage makes a great vampire.
Yeah.
But that's why I always prefer just Nicolas Cage YouTube compilations to any actual film of his.
Okay, there we go. I will like be more game to watch a shit Nick Cage film than a good one.
Yeah.
Would this be Cage exploitation?
Cage exploitation, yeah, maybe that's my soft spot.
You can't exploit Cage because he's just up for everything.
Women in prison movies, I'll pretty much watch any women in prison.
Yeah, the only Cage movie I haven't watched is actually The Wicker Man, simply because I really like the old one, and I want that to stay The Wicker Man.
I've never watched the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man because seeing all those scenes in context would ruin them.
No, that's the Wicker Man remake was kind of where the today's flip out Nick Cage trope came from. Like he wasn't like, it didn't feel like a conscious thing he was doing until Wicker Man.
Yeah. Whereas now you've got stuff like Color Out of Space where he's been hired specifically to do that.
No,
and
exactly.
Glorious.
Yeah,
like I love that film, but
yeah, the Prisoner of the Ghostland, which came out about a month ago. That's the way it was with that. He just
see, I don't even hear about these films.
I was gonna say this actually probably like a genius career move for him to just start doing this weird like. I guess is this stuff straight to video or what?
No, Prisoner of Ghostland actually had an indie run. It was picked up by a semi-major distributor.
Okay,
I can't remember who it was.
it's indie run though, right? He's not really showing up in the
it was
the big boys
it was made by
anymore.
The guy that made Tokyo Tribe and Cold Fish and Suicide Club made it, and so it's got a lot of. It was made in. I think they made it in Japan actually. There's like only 3 English-speaking stars.
Giving this one a little more thought, I guess the Crazies is a notable precursor. How many movies did Romero make in the 70s?
Well, there was Martin, and there was the Crazies. I can't remember when Season of the Witch came out, but I want to say there was 4 or 5.
Okay, I feel like the Crazies is his other big 70s one though, because
and that's a great movie.
I mean, because that sort of has the manic energy of this one without zombies.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, some days you catch me, and I'll tell you I like the Crazies more just because it's a little bit more focused.
Yeah, I was about to say, like in that way, it's a little bit better.
Yeah, the remake's actually pretty good at that too.
Oh, this is funny. This is
he also directed O.J. Simpson, Juice on the Loose, a TV documentary about up-and-coming black sports star O.J. Simpson.
No shit.
In 1974.
So the title is not referring to any sort of criminal activity.
Did you hear the recent O.J. Simpson quote?
Was it?
He doesn't like going out in Los Angeles because he feels like the killer could be anywhere around him.
Well, he's probably not wrong. Like your soul's in the center, and then your body's around you.
That was great.
What was his book? If I Did It?
Yeah, it's like, here's how I'd have done it if I did
it. Now he's just messing with us.
I really want to watch. Do you ever hear about Juiced?
What is Juiced?
He did a pilot for like a hidden camera prank show starring O.J. Simpson. And like one of the pranks is he's in a used car lot selling the car from the chase, and it's got bullet holes in it.
Okay, this is post. Okay,
yeah,
that's important. That's what makes that entertaining. That's what makes the Ramiro documentary entertaining as well.
So, when did zombies actually eat brains? Because in this, they just eat flesh.
Return of the Living Dead must be.
Is it specifically brains? Yeah.
That's where you get the actual brains.
Yeah, because they actually have a conversation with one of the more coherent zombies, and the zombie says it dulls the pain of being dead. You know, that brains specifically make it hurts to be dead, and brains make it not hurt.
I haven't seen Turning Dead, but I've heard that excuse used in other films. It's like,
yeah, I want to say it's the first time I heard of it, but somebody would have to like look that up to verify. But the whole eating of brains specifically, like I feel like Dan O'Bannon came up with that for that.
One of our Halloween quiz questions at work was like, what do zombies eat? The answer being brains. But thinking about it, there's not that much zombie fiction, especially contemporary, where it is specifically brains. It's just eating people these days.
Yeah, just the kind of cannibalism thing, you know. What are they in World War Z? Do they eat flesh, or because that's like the always pointed to as like the big.
See, all I remember from that film is Brad Pitt's handsome face.
I'm talking about the books because they screwed up. They screwed up the movies,
okay.
But the books, the Max Brooks, the actual book,
the Max,
because it was done like, yeah, it was done more like a documentary. Like you know, I don't know what that movie was. Those piles of CG nothing.
My grandmother was an extra in World War Z, but they were told not to speak to Brad Pitt unless spoken to first.
Oh, perhaps it's for the best.
Yeah, you just mentioned the cannibal stuff, because the Italians were doing the cannibal stuff before they were doing the zombie stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I may watch any cannibal movie also. Women's Prison and Cannibal. Those are two of my favorite genres. Yeah.
Luke, have you delved into the world of cannibal movies?
I watched Cannonball Run.
No, that doesn't count.
That was a good one, dude. I would so watch Cannibal Run. If I could rent that tonight, I would watch Cannibal Run.
Anyway,
I don't know if I've ever seen a cannibal.
I think it's Cannibal Holocaust is one that will just straight up fuck you up.
I've seen like
like that.
Cannibal
Still doesn't count until the
Yeah.
Italians. Okay, you haven't. I mean, I'm not even saying you should.
You're talking like video nasties shit.
Yeah, this is stuff that will actually like disturb. Like it's if it doesn't disturb you, even if you're desensitized, there's something slightly wrong with you.
Yep, absolutely. They are rough.
So okay, that is very close to. It's almost like the more voodoo kind of thing than the just having like they always have the tribes that eat people,
Right.
Yeah, the Italian cannibal, it's good to make that distinction. They are far off always in the Amazon somewhere, and the humans happen upon them and screw up where they don't belong, and yeah, they're then eaten summarily and taken apart.
Wonder why they don't make these anymore.
But there is the
I know there are a couple of tribes where it's just like anyone goes near, they get killed.
Sentinel Island, is it? I think it's Sentinel Island. It's near, like kind of to the east of Indonesia, west of Indonesia, where anyone approaches, they'll just start screaming and throwing things at whatever's trying to land.
Like missionaries have gone there and died, and we can't even recover the bodies and shit.
Right.
It's just like they will kill anyone who comes to their island.
Yeah,
there's
a
smart move.
There's a documentary called Keep the River on Your Right, and it's about a guy who befriended and then later became lovers with a guy of a cannibal tribe when he was encountered them. It's like a fascinatingly true story.
So the cannibals live on the left side of the river, is it?
I guess
Which
so,
way you're
dude.
walking.
It's on my right. Yeah, it does. That's not good advice, because it should be like keep the river to your right as you go north.
Yeah.
If you're looking to pick up find young cannibals, then maybe it is great advice.
Well, if you're given that advice, and
are
you're
they
on one
cannibals
side,
if they just eat my ass?
you gotta
with
do
a spoon, the entirety of the ass of the spork.
You gotta be willing to do that.
Yeah.
I can't end another podcast by going off of the Alex Jones "I'll eat your ass" routine, but
Why not?
I feel like I quote Alex Jones too much.
I think that does leave us with an interesting where does this movie hold up thing, though, because it's so early in the zombie mythos, it almost exists separately from it, I think. Like if we're thinking the Resident Evil strain, and more recent stuff, it's a very different world than that. It's like if we call Resident Evil movies like zombie movies, then this is almost something different.
Yeah, no, this is before the video game zombie movie, where it's just about shooting them apart.
Yeah.
And also before like the post-apocalyptic movie genre as well. So it's more it's more about the humans and about the metaphor and Romero's overall kind of social statement he carries over from Night of the Living Dead on. It stands on its own. Like I don't even think of it as a zombie movie, really. It's just a horror, like a classic horror to me.
Yeah, I guess this is one of the first movies to try and show the process of the end of the human race, because you got like dystopias, we did Soylent Green, Logan's Run, but as far as destruction and motion, this because night just suggests it doesn't show it like this.
I feel like we either see things approaching or set considerably after, but the actual decline, I don't know how often we see that, and it's done very well.
I talk about the first Mad Max showing that quite well. Actually, still probably better than this one, because this one still feels like a little bit past the tipping point. Although with zombies, the tipping point doesn't take long. So
I feel like the first Mad Max would come a little later than this.
A little later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most of society is pretty much broken down in Mad Max.
Yeah. Well, just break. I guess it's a slow breakdown in that world, where it's a very quick
zombie one
breakdown
obviously happens
here.
a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Like one thing I really liked was because you see the TV studio at the start, and then a bit later they watch TV and it's just like a falling apart stage, like just rabble rousing, because they're trying to put something out but everything's falling apart. I thought that was really well done, even if the guy playing the TV host was not the greatest actor.
No,
He wasn't.
Well, the point was he was crap on the camera, right?
Yeah.
Like the one, go ahead, no one's even gonna see this.
Yeah. Now you did recognize Romero at the beginning though, at the controls, right?
I have in the past. I didn't notice him this time around, but
No, I didn't know that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think his wife may also be in one of the shots too.
But yeah, if the question is how does this hold up, the answer is really fucking well. Like I think I had seen bits of it before, or maybe seen the whole film before, but I more or less watched it for the first time last night. And like, for all of our listeners, you can just watch this whole film on YouTube and the quality was better than most stuff I watch on Netflix. Like, do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the only ways that it's aged are just maybe the music and then like the very like overly blue makeup sort of look for the zombies has gone out of fashion. And I noticed films don't have blood this color anymore. It's always a really dark, almost black blood now, right?
Yeah, this is one of the only films I think that has quite this psychedelic color of blood.
But I've never just like sliced up a bunch of people, so I don't really know what blood would look like in that context.
No, this is more like hammer horror blood.
Yes, hammer horror is exactly what this is.
I seem to recall the blue kind of being a mistake, like they actually had something that looked more realistic and it didn't come across well.
It's like the like Kirk's jumper is actually green.
Oh right.
Sort of shit. Yeah, maybe it just didn't look that way in the flesh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't actually supposed to look quite that blue and it just came out that way once they filmed it.
But like in terms of the plot beats, in terms of the acting and the characters, you could watch this and then never have to watch one of these films ever again.
That's more or less, I guess, what I've been doing in my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I like zombie films. I'm like, well, when I say that, I just go and watch Dawn of the Dead again most of the time. So
right. Yeah.
And if I get bored of this one,
choice.
maybe I watch the Schneider cut, which isn't terrible.
No, you and I saw that in the theater when it came out, and I recall being very impressed.
Oh, we were very impressed. Now, now I'm like, well, I still like the first one better, and Zack Snyder's, it's hard to.
Yeah, Snyder's pretty good when he doesn't have to come up with his own story.
True, and I'll go on record again. I actually do like his Watchmen quite well. So.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I think it's as good as you can get for something which is a comic book about being a comic book, and it was not made to be made into a film.
Because there's that recent TV show. That's something. I mean, it's a completely different story. Yeah. So, but I have not seen that because, as I said, I guess I'm burnt out on the superheroics for the time being.
I watched Spider-Man.
No, the Watchmen show is excellent.
No, I've heard it is quite good. So I just like.
It takes me back to a tweet I saw about Toy Story 4 was like, this film being good isn't enough of a reason to make it.
Yeah, that's another one I haven't seen yet, partially because my daughter is 12 now and has no interest in seeing Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4 is my favorite of all.
Three was my favorite when I saw three.
Like I said, it could be very good. I just don't think that's enough of a reason to make a fourth Toy Story.
No, you got to take one away if you stick with the three.
So my last Sunday family viewing sessions were Alien and The Shining. So,
well done.
No, Hannah was like, I want to see some horror movies. So I don't have that many, but these are close enough. Well, Shining definitely. So.
Oh no, Alien's horror. It's a monster movie.
No, it is. Yeah.
It's ridiculous that we're doing a sci-fi sanctuary and we're doing horror movies and we haven't done fucking Alien yet.
Is that right?
Yeah, but we got to get someone special on for Alien.
Yeah. Alien's definitely on the. I've made invites for Alien, so
I keep meaning to.
Okay.
I just didn't get an answer.
I mean, we've done Prometheus, so we have technically touched that universe now.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask.
Man, not having Alien. I assumed that was one of the first.
Well, I just watched Alien. If that makes sense.
It's got to be like a 150 or something at this point. We can't just chuck it in.
before we wrap it up, does anyone have any big points they want to throw out on this one? I think we covered the bases pretty well.
One of the like groans the zombies make, I think, is the sound effect they use in Dune. It sounded exactly like it, just the
might have been. Maybe
Yeah.
that's brought them in. It gives 20 years later.
I mean, it was definitely that's the noise they were going for,
yeah.
but I feel like it might have been the sound clip.
The same one.
Yeah.
Doom zombie
Noise.
Okay, we're gonna see if we can
Dawn.
hear that.
Dead.
Dawn Dead. Did that actually? What did you get? You got Dawn of the Dead.
Nothing saying they're the same.
Okay. A scream. Oh.
Oh.
No. It's just
monsters using the zombie death sounds DSPODTH1 DOX will randomly pick one of the three. This will sure not all zombies sound the same when they die.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that has nothing to do with it. So
Oh, I was looking forward to it.
Doom. Matt's gonna leave all of this in as well, so I shouldn't spend too long.
now I'll see the empty spaces and take them out.
Okay. That's it. I can only get all the monster noises in one go. That's the sort of thing I'm thinking. That one. There's a few that sounded just like those groans.
Most of these either sound like cows, tigers, or cow tigers to me.
I started thinking of the fart soundboard again myself.
God, that was the best. It was one of the best things.
That'll have to be a very special episode sometime where we watch sumo and use the fart soundboard.
Special episode of what?
I don't know. That's why it's a very special episode.
Give it its own podcast feed.
No, that'd have to be YouTube because you need to see the sumo wrestlers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, that would be the best. That would be the
I
best.
keep saying, when their viewership is going down because too many of the old G-san have passed on, they'll have to start doing that to get new viewers because the kids in Japan sumo is not cool. That's why I want to see like the cute high school girl who's like completely obsessed with sumo wrestlers.
She definitely exists.
It's got to be out there somewhere. We should make a movie about that. They'd have to be Japanese though.
Yeah, we could not make that movie again.
No. How about your movies?
Oh yeah, man. I have one called Wet T-Shirt Zombies. Pretty great. Among many others. You can get that at gonzoriffic.com, Gonzoriffic. That's my friends and I. We make movies here in Athens, Georgia. One from almost 10 years ago, May of the Dead, MAE of the Dead. I actually tried to make my own like legit zombie story, and that one I think is on Vimeo. Look it up, man.
Now we run the ball to you.
No way. I want Stoned Matt doing the plugs this week.
Okay. So
Don't deprive us of this.
this is a podcast. It's called Matt and Luke's Sci-Fi Sanctuary. It's part of this and other podcasts at Podcastius, where we talk about those goddamn educational films and Pokemon and Monster Hunter and things like that. That's Podcastius. It's on Patreon. Did I say that already? That was good. I got everything out, I think. There's Facebook, maybe. There might be Facebook. Hey, I was almost like, Facebook's finally gone. This is probably good. This having happened the day before, right?
Yeah.
I was like, kind of like, if it doesn't come, because I can email Andrew. I still have his email, right? I can line you. This is probably okay.
Yeah, I'm very okay with Facebook going away.
I mean, it's useful, but at the same time, it's
we've fallen into using it, but it's not like I can't contact all those people other ways.
The feeling was kind of like, the nightmares ended, something you don't get in Dawn of the Dead.
I did see some great posts of like people had to spend a whole 6 hours only getting medical advice from professionals.
What time of day was that in the States? That was a midday thing, was it?
I was out for most of the days, so I didn't catch it. And I've been on vacation this week, and so it really had no impact on the world of journalism for me.
No, for me, I got up and I was like, "Oh, check it," and then nothing came up. And I was like, "I'll look at CNN," and they're like, "It's been out for hours." And And I was like, okay. And a few hours later, I checked and it was there, so whatever. But
Yeah,
for those
no,
few
it's not
hours, I
going
was
anywhere.
like, if it doesn't come back, it's probably okay. If someone like just like like Fight Clubbed it at the end, that'd be probably
Yeah,
okay.
no, I played video games and watched movies and stuff like that. It really didn't need it.
I didn't even hear about it till after the fact because I haven't been on Facebook for like 10 months. So
That works out.
it's great. I recommend it to everyone.
Well,
outside there's these things called trees. They're really nice.
But they smell funny.
Oh, yeah, and you in your basement on Facebook don't. That was my attempt at a tiger cow.
We didn't even mention Matt starred in a zombie movie that I made called Satan's House of Yoga.
I don't think I was a zombie in it though.
You sent me.
No, you were being
Nightmare on Elm
chased
Street
by zombie yoga women, and you blow your brains out, and one of them eats it off the wall.
Do they like chase him in like contorted yoga positions?
I don't remember there being a whole lot of that. I just remember being really unnerved when the zombies had to come at me, like, the shot where I'll come forward, and so I'm standing in the place where Matt had to stand, and I was like, this is some bullshit. I don't like this at all.
I just remember making an absolute mess of your bathroom.
I've just realized that Matt regularly tells me why he likes slow zombies. And now that we're doing a podcast on that subject, he didn't even talk about it much.
I said it.
You said you like it, you didn't say why. And this film is a perfect example of what you always bring up.
The hubris?
Yeah.
I said that at some point, didn't I?
No, you just said you like the slow ones more than the fast ones.
Because people's pride, because they have to strategize.
Yeah, because it's theoretically they're not that difficult to escape.
Right.
But because people get, like in this film, they just go right to the window and laughing at them and screaming at them and shit. And then you just got the fucking hands covering up the window, and it's like, yeah. This film nailed it, so why did you need to make any more? I think we've tried to outro like 3 times now, so.
Do we start making zombie noises again?
No, I just think Andrew, you and the listeners at home can all fuck off.